Biofriendly Podcast. It's the Biofriendly Podcast.
It's been a tough podcast.
It has been a tough podcast. I know we'll never release that episode that we just recorded, right? Never. We can't.
No. Like here. The world is not ready for a solution that elegant. You know, it's like if the world knew that they just had to change one thing,
like
and
that,
only one thing,
and it was that simple,
easy to do, and you could do it tomorrow, and all environmental problems would go away, people would lose their minds.
Yeah,
and we would also destroy a gigantic green industry that is,
yes.
That is, we have too many powerful politicians who would murder us.
And they'd end the Biofriendly Podcast immediately. They would be like, you guys are dangerous. We can't have you on the airwaves.
So even though we've already solved it and it's in the podcast and we recorded it, we're never going to release it because the world is not ready and we can't, I'm too young to die.
I agree. And it's time so we're going to have our own version of the Disney Vault. We're going to have episodes that we tuck them away and you never get to see them.
The Biofriendly Podcast Vault. That's it.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
So let's just forget everything that we said to each other.
Okay.
Let's forget it.
Wipe the slate clean. And let's go on to something, that's like, I don't know. I don't even know what I'm talking about here.
Let's go on. Let's talk about something that apparently helps the environment, but that we both know is an inferior solution to what we've already discovered.
All right. I agree. This is a great choice. This is a great choice. Well, hi, pal.
Hey, pal. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Yeah. I'm doing better. I was a little under the weather past couple days.
What happened?
It was just this wasn't a bummer run, scary coronavirus time. Okay. This was a bum run. No. I had a stomach bug.
Our under 14 audience, which is like half of our audience, just laughed so hard when you said
it's a bum run. I had a stomach bug, and so I had uncomfortable couple days there, but I'm feeling much better. I'm feeling alive and well, and I'm feeling ready to podcast. But yeah, so I'm doing great.
Great.
Yes.
Great. I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad that there's no more bum runs.
No more bum runs.
That the world is your oyster.
Although I'm staying away from oysters.
Don't eat any oysters.
For the love of all, do not eat a plate of oysters right now.
I shaved.
Yeah, I see that. Since our last one, you had a big old burly beard, and now you've got a nice, clean, smooth, shaven.
Well, it's stubbled out a little bit. I'm going to try a little policy here where I shave and then I wait.
Oh, okay.
And then I shave.
That's a
wait.
That is a policy.
And we'll see how this goes. See what happens here.
We could have a time lapse of all the Biofriendly podcasts put together of like Noel's face, because I'm sure it just looks like a chia pet that's like being grown and then sheared and then shoop 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 shoop. Because for the most part I've stayed consistently. I usually have a beard. Did a little mustache craziness during the early days of at home Zooms, but for the most part I have a beard. But you never know what you're going to do.
But you have a glorious head hair mane that does different things. That would be fun to see.
Yes. Okay. So should I start playing around with that a little bit? Pigtails, mohawk,
play. Let's do this.
I love it. Let's get weird.
Absolutely.
Let's get weird. Yeah. Well, that is the transition into our subject of today.
Did you just do a segue on us?
I did a segue. A segue.
But not the kind you ride.
No. Not the kind you ride. Because, that's an urban legend. The guy who created the Segway got killed riding a Segway. I think that's an urban legend. I can't remember, but I thought I remembered hearing that somewhere.
That's perfect irony.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, today's segue into weird is I saw something. Oh, well, first of all, if we had a theme song like the classic 80s John Hughes movie, Weird Science, we'd be Weird Power, ooh, Weird Power. That's the...
That's Oingo Boingo?
I think it was. It was Oingo Boingo. For you kids, Oingo Boingo was an 80s band fronted by none other than Danny Elfman, the famous movie composer.
Danny Elfman wrote most of the songs for all of the movies throughout the late 90s and early 2000s.
Yeah, and some big themes, too, like the Simpsons theme. Mm-hmm. The Batman ones with Michael Keaton.
The Spider-Man, not the current Spider-Man ones, but the Spider-Man ones from like
Right.
back in, again, the early 2000s when he was just on everything.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Good
Lots of stuff.
Like a lot of like he's always being used by Tim Burton too.
Yes, that's like the number one guy he calls when he gets a film, and you can characterize a lot of his music by lots of like deep rooted brass. Yeah,
and often, you know what? Here's how kids can find it.
Okay.
He was the guy who wrote the score and music for The Nightmare Before Christmas.
Oh. There you go. And
he also sang Jack Skellington's part.
Yes, he did.
Yes.
Although,
he's got a beautiful voice.
I know this is such a tangent, but Nightmare Before Christmas has been a staple film for me since it came out. We watch it almost every Halloween, and we absolutely love it in my household. But I didn't know almost the entire time until maybe a year or two ago that Danny Elfman sang the parts for Jack, but did not speak the parts. And the person who spoke the lines of Jack Skellington in the film is King Humperdinck.
No,
that actor
really? Christopher Plummer?
Chris Sarandon.
Isn't it? Sarandon, that's right.
Sarandon. No. Yeah.
Chris Sarandon. Yes. Oh
Chris
my God.
Sarandon.
He was the actor to the lines.
Yes, he is the dialogue of Jack, and I never knew.
That guy is hilarious.
I know.
That guy's great.
Very, very good.
That's wonderful. Wow.
Yeah.
That's a power combo right there.
Right?
Which is why Jack Skellington is one of the greatest characters in the history of the world.
Absolutely. All right. So tangent aside.
Oh, we did it again.
It's okay.
We stopped talking about the environment again.
It's okay. So I stumbled across this article fairly recent on The Guardian, and the title of the article was Powerhouses. Nanotechnology turns bricks into batteries.
Okay.
Right? Okay. So my first thought was like, okay, they're doing some kind of solar thing. They're doing some, they're putting lithium ion batteries into bricks. No. Nay, they are not. Okay. So I'm gonna this new technology exploits the porous nature of fired red bricks.
Okay. They are porous.
Yes, they are porous. By filling the pores with tiny nanofibers of a conducting plastic that can store a charge. Okay. So the first bricks store enough electricity to power small lights. So where we are as of today, as of right now, they've only got it to where a brick can power some small lights. So you have enough power in that brick to like hang some Christmas lights on your patio.
Can they use them in parallel? Can they like add up the energy of all the bricks to make something more useful?
But if their capacity can be increased, they can become a low-cost alternative to the lithium-ion batteries currently used. So, strictly speaking, the powered bricks are supercapacitors rather than batteries. And this is something that, in your big brain, supercapacitors store electricity as a static charge in solids rather than chemical reactions as in batteries. So, like, the whole concept behind these power bricks is that they act as... I know very little to none about supercapacitors, but that's the concept of this technology, which is eventually you could link all these puppies together in a building, and then the building would be powering itself by these supercapacitors. Okay. That's the concept. Be a brick house.
Hey, that's cool. I mean, I think there's got to be some work done on that.
But yeah. We got a long way to go.
You don't get that much power from a supercapacitor necessarily, but that doesn't mean we can't. We could do anything.
Well, it says to your point, you're right. It says the energy density of the first power bricks reported in the Journal of Nature Communications is just 1% of that of a lithium-ion battery. So you are right. We are talking. They have gotten the power, the brick, down to 1% of a battery.
However,
if
you think about how many bricks you could put on a skyscraper, and if you put one LED light on each one, think of the Christmas miracle.
It would be glorious.
It would be glorious.
Yes, I think so too.
So I think let's just go ahead and do it. Let's put this in all the buildings as it is. Forget development. Let's not even make it better. Let's just have every building have be a Christmas miracle. That would help the environment, I think.
I love it
more than anything else. I mean, like that's interesting. And I wonder, it's funny when you said it. The first thing I thought is, okay, so because like a typical battery would be, it's kind of like, so it works like well, I don't want to say like a clock, but kind of like a clock. Like, let's see if I can find a way to make an analogy.
How can we make
stupid?
Yes,
but fun.
You need to come up with a biofriendly podcast worthy analogy of.
We talked a little bit about attraction, right? And we talked about. So maybe we could do something similar with Zac Efron again. But that might be let's do pizza.
Pizza. Pizza, a universally loved food.
So let's say that I produce pizza. I produce pizza. Okay. And you like to eat pizza.
I do.
Okay. So what we need to do is we need to have me on one side of a wall.
Okay.
That's separating us.
Okay.
So that you can't just take all the pizza.
Right.
And you on the other side of the wall, hoping to God that you can eat some pizza.
Right. Okay.
Okay. And then there's a material in between us that can flow dough, which you waste.
The dough flow corridor.
You can waste dough.
Okay.
And the dough can flow in that corridor, right? But that's kind of in between us. Okay. And then I make pizza, and then I've got this giant stockpile of pizza, and once it's full of pizza, I can't make any more pizza because I'm out of room for making pizza. It's pizza full. Okay. And so then somebody puts a tunnel between my door that goes over to your door. Okay. And as soon as it opens up, you go, pizza! You start screaming for pizza. And I go, God, I got to get this pizza to Jacob. He's starving.
Okay.
And then I start throwing pizza through the tunnel.
The tunnel. Right.
Okay?
Right.
Now, if you just put a direct thing between us, you're going to get that pizza immediately. It's going to go really fast. You'll get all that pizza until all my stores of pizza are gone.
Yeah.
Okay?
Way too quickly.
But if you run it through, like, let's say a telephone, then instead of going through just directly to you, it goes through the telephone and the circuitry in the telephone, and the act of it flowing through the telephone produces it's electrons running through your telephone, and that's what gives it. So pizza goes through your phone, and that powers your phone, and then it goes out of the phone instead of going just directly through a long, circuit that way, into your mouth, where you eat all of the pizza until you get so fat that you are full and there's no more room for you to eat pizza.
Historians will talk about the day that Noel Carroll broke down batteries in the great pizza analogy, that now we all get how it works.
Right. So now let's suppose I'm out of pizza. You're full of dough.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Okay. So... so that's all done. So now I have dough, but I can't quite make the pizza unless we get some sauce and some ingredients and some everything else. But I can't actually accept those. So what we do is we reverse it. That's how you recharge it.
Okay.
So we fill up in your room now fills up with
sauce, cheese,
and all that dough you have, and it passes it through to me so that I can now make more pizza.
And that is how it works?
And then once I'm full of pizza, it can't charge anymore. It stops. And then we wait for someone to plug us back in or turn on the phone. And then more pizza for Jacob! That's a very crude analogy, but that's about kind of how a battery
We are all about the crude analogies. And now I've never understood batteries so well in my life. And I've just ordered us a pizza. So
that's good. Well, that's good to hear.
No, that makes sense. So
I was thinking, like, when you were first saying the bricks, I was thinking, okay, so what are they putting? Because what you do is you get a chemical reaction. From the metals, essentially, touching you. Because one metal is, to use the attraction analogy, one metal wants your pizza, one metal doesn't need to have the pizza.
Right.
So that's where you get positive versus negative, and that's why you have those in the batteries.
Right.
So it's just finding two elements that that are like that, where you can just have the electrons free flow from one to the other, and that's
what gotcha. That's what a supercapacitor is.
No, that's a traditional battery. Supercapacitor, as I understand it, it's just like an electrical. Here, you know what? I'm going to look it up because.
Well, while you look it up, so we can get. It says, okay, the researchers created small prototypes of the power bricks using chemical vapors to react with the red ion oxides in the bricks, and then to form a network of plastic nanofibers. So a special plastic called PEDOT, PEDOT. Maybe it's French, PEDOT, was used as it is a very good conductor of electricity. The reactions turn the red bricks a dark blue color. Okay, so weird. So you make your building red and then it becomes blue after you use the power bricks. Another advantage of supercapacitors is they can be charged and recharged many more times than batteries before losing their ability to store electricity. The power bricks can be cycled 10,000 times before their capacity fails significantly. Okay, well that's interesting because if you build a structure out of power bricks and then you've depleted them, what do you do with the structure?
Right, now you've got a giant structure full of bricks that don't work. Yeah.
Oh boy, this has got a little bit of problems. But that's not the only subject today.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. It's interesting. Yeah. I was thinking more that they would be making bricks that had like bricks out of elements that had this quality.
Right.
That where you're essentially, because a battery is a brick.
Yeah.
Really. I mean it's a tiny, well, in case of a car battery it's a very large brick. But for a lithium ion it's just a small brick. Unless you put it in a car, then it gets a lot bigger. But so my thought when you said that was that they had created some kind of brick. But I mean the basic problem behind all of it, I was thinking is that they wear out over time. The materials do degrade. I mean, even in the best batteries, eventually they'll degrade. They'll stop. They won't work as well.
Yeah.
So it seems like if you've committed yourself to making a building
out of this material,
like what are you gonna?
What are you gonna do when it's depleted? Right.
Yeah. Like why? Like maybe they should put it in the paint.
Yeah. Yeah. There you go. Put it in something that can be reapplied.
I don't know. Like you figure. I see. Now we're talking about stupid stuff. That
no. That's why
we're
no.
What?
So this is why we're talking about it. So here's an image for the people who watch. I mean, it looks almost like a block of chocolate with some cheese in the middle or something.
Yeah,
I mean, it's really cheesy
yes.
chocolate, which is a terrible combination of flavors, I think.
Yeah.
But so when I saw it, I was like, that's interesting, and that's why I brought it to the show's attention because I thought it's an interesting idea, but it's weird. It's we're taking these concepts and going, okay, where can we get energy in a way that we haven't quite thought of before? I had never considered a power brick or having supercapacitors as a source of energy. So then I was like,
I'm trying to think of what other kind of semi-permanent, difficult to replace things can we waste.
So that's the name of this. That's the theme of the show. Is what are some ideas that will really cause more problems? No, I was like, what are weird
can we build
things?
A battleship out of.
Scientists discover that schools can be powered by battleships.
Yes.
And they're like, wait, we got to build a battleship to power our schools? Yeah,
but how rad would it be if your school was a battle-ship, right? If they could go in and the kids figure out how to make all the guns work.
It'd be amazing. They can swab the deck.
Yeah.
It'd be, you have a bunch of, ready to hit the ocean.
Invade Florida.
Yeah. Right. So, no, what it brought me to was I was like, okay, power bricks. And then when I was using Bing, as I do, I was searching on Bing and I was going, what is other weird energy? Like what?
Weird energy.
And we have touched on, so there were these lists that I would find, and we have touched on some of them over the past shows. Because I remember, one of the things that came up on the list was the solar wind thing, which we did that whole episode early on about the solar sail. It was about that thing in space that's being powered by the solar wind. And then we've, of course, talked about cows, methane.
Sure.
We have entire ice cream companies powering their facilities by cow burps and methane there. But there were other things that I saw on this list that I was like, I didn't know that.
Okay.
So I'm going to list a few of them for you, okay? Okay, so So
And then we'll
basically,
compare them to what we have.
Yes,
And which one of
yes.
these technologies, if we had no choice and had to choose one,
exactly.
what are we going with?
So, to your point of the power brick, which is like, is it a better direction or has it become more of a pain when you build an entire building that now is a dead battery? You know. We have built this building which can power the city for the next 3 years. What about it? What about after that? Then it's just a building.
There's still bricks.
And then we'll have to sign up for LA Water and Power, and we'll have to get it powered up. So I don't see what the problem here is, Roger.
We've bought ourselves 3 years.
3 years.
Think about the twinkling lights on this
Right,
Christmas
right.
building.
It'll look glorious. Biogas. Okay, is a fuel, mainly methane, obtained from organic matter after it has been degraded over time by bacteria in natural conditions. A lot of leftover food and waste, such as fruit skins or coffee, can be used to obtain biogas. And there are already a number of small industries collecting and using the trash produced in big cities to generate electricity, a lot like Back to the Future, which is a great. I mean, the fact they threw the movie, they got my attention because of that. But yes, so biogas, which is like food waste, coffee grounds, all that kind of stuff, you can turn it into a biogas power. Thoughts?
I'm going back to the Future for a minute.
Okay.
And I wonder, now the problem with the uranium that Doc Brown was using in the first place was that it was tough to get his hands on it in the 1950s.
Plutonium.
You're right. I'm sorry. It was plutonium.
Okay. Yeah.
Gosh, I'm a terrible. What kind of
it's
what kind
okay.
of monster am I?
I'm fine with uranium. If you'd said unobtainium, then I would have been really upset. That was the stuff from Avatar.
Yes. We need some of that immediately. If you have unobtainium, you can power those bricks for 4 years.
For 4 years. Yeah. Anyway, back to your point. Plutonium. Doc Brown couldn't get.
Plutonium. So like that it's not very available when you go back in time. Like you can't just
go get it.
You can't just go get plutonium. So they had to flip in time a lightning electricity strike through a clock tower. I hope I didn't ruin the movie for the
If they haven't seen Back to the Future by now, there's nothing we can do.
That's true.
Yeah.
So, but now my complaint, I guess, about the trash. Well, my thing I like about the trash concept is we're making it anyway.
Yeah.
So if we have the trash, we have the garbage anyway, we may as well use it for something. So that's good. Yeah. Right. My complaint probably goes back to a whole other podcast, which is that, nuclear energy gets a bad rap for no good reason, in my opinion.
Yes.
In my opinion. And there is, and it is available. We do have the materials to make that, and you can have tons of power and energy with. But that's not what. You know what? You got me on a tangent because, dude, Back to the Future. We have enough plutonium. Okay.
Okay. We have enough plutonium. Is what you're trying to say. But biogas,
But I like it because we're wasting it anyway, right? We're getting rid of this stuff. I mean, cows are going to fart.
Yeah. Cows are going to fart, and
they're going to poop.
Yeah.
And there's going to be trash. And
exactly.
Let's just use it, man. Let's
use it.
Let's use it.
Let's use it. So biogas. So there are businesses that do it, and so I'd be interested to explore at a future date, like if we could find somebody who actually runs a biogas plant where they are powering things by food waste and coffee grounds and all that. That'd be interesting to find. I don't have anyone on deck. So in all of these, now some of these are weird, and they're. Oh, go ahead.
I think I'm already putting biogas in front of bricks for today, for now.
So if we got a ranking system, we're already going to go biogas 1, power bricks 10. So next up, powered by electric eel.
Okay.
It's not really. It's on this list of a weird energy source. Basically, a scientist in Japan had like a Christmas tree. So back to the Christmas tree.
Okay.
And he had an electric eel in a tank. Okay. And the electric eel is a fish capable of generating a 400-volt electric discharge. Wow. So basically, and he's not even like electrifying. He's just swimming around this tank. And the electricity emitted from this electric eel powered the Christmas tree. And so just interesting that we have a eel in the ocean that is electric. Now, this is not, that would be the most bizarre thing. You can't, I wouldn't put it past some weird LA eccentric person to be like, my entire home is powered by eel, you know? Like
Right.
that seems like something that a weird eccentric billionaire would do. Like Jeff Bezos could have his home powered by electric eel and be like, I'm environmental. And you'd be like, well, I don't know, man. Those eels probably shouldn't be powering your home. So.
It does seem, well, I guess if it's not hurting the
It's
eel,
not hurting the eels. They're just swimming. Oh, the only thing that was in that tank
it
is
does
they
feel a little bit like, it feels like we're taking eels from their home.
It feels like
away
eel
from
slavery.
their mom and dad, away from their family to come power our Christmas trees.
Right. It
When we
feels
could just have bricks do it.
it feels a little bit wrong. So you're saying on the scale you'd put Power Bricks ahead of
I
eel.
think Power Bricks just went up to
Okay.
1.
Okay.
Not number 1, but like on a scale of 1. All right, so like no number 1. Okay, so I think number 1 is biogas,
Okay.
and the current ranking after that somewhere is Power Bricks,
Yeah.
and then I think Electric Eel goes below that. Even though it's a neat concept. It's a cool thing they were able to do it, and I guess that if you knew that the Electric Eel loved you and you
Right.
paid it for its efforts.
And if you're an eel farmer, by all means, have your entire farm powered by your buddies.
Because eel farms are where everybody has an eel farm.
There's a big future in eel farming.
Because because we need them. That's because we have to eat eels, particularly the electric ones.
Right.
That's why. Yeah. No. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So
Okay.
that one's I think on the bottom. Yeah.
Okay, on the bottom. Okay, so this one seems like a little bit. So some of these I'm kind of skimming over because this one says sound waves. It just says every day we feel the energy that sound waves can generate. We feel a big truck passing by, or the annoying woofer of our neighbors. Sound waves can make almost any material in Earth vibrate. Some scientists are trying to transform these waves into electricity by using wires and electrodes. So that's just like on the list of things, but that leaves a very loud future. You know, like I think if we invest in sound waves, then we have a clean planet. But everybody's like, what? I can't hear you.
So how? Okay, I'm gonna try to back that up again. How
Okay.
are they making these sound waves work?
So all it says is scientists are trying to transform these waves into electricity by using wires and electrodes. The amount of energy that can be obtained with sound waves is not exactly enormous. Key point. But current research is exploring the possibilities of using it to charge small devices such as cell phones or clocks. So maybe we could get to a point where you could yell at your cell phone, charged.
You've got 6 seconds of talk time.
Yeah, you could go.
So if you just keep yelling, yell at the person while you're talking to them.
So you could be
sorry,
like,
I'm screaming at you right now. My phone is out of batteries, but I can only keep it charged if I continue to scream at you.
I'm about to run out of
this. But I love you. You're the best. You've changed my life.
That is
Stay
the
my
best.
wife. Ah! And then you hang up.
Oh my god, that's great! Yelling charging by yelling. That is the best.
I think that one is above eels. So
Okay.
probably below bricks.
Okay. So what I decided to do here on today's podcast is really funny.
I don't know. Maybe it's close between bricks and the sound wave concept. I'm sort of in the middle.
I wanted to bring you some real duds today. That was the plan.
Oh, well, hey,
yeah.
Hey, biogas isn't a dud. It's just, I just...
Yeah, and to piggyback on biogas. So this one says bugs and bacteria. Okay.
Oh, good. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So it says biodiesel production has been a reality for quite a while now. It is a fuel obtained through the combination of vegetable oil and alcohol. However, it requires extensive cultivable lands. And a lot of energy is involved with the production. To counter these problems, scientists are already working on alternative methods of transforming seed oil into biodiesel, such as via the natural activity of bacteria. Yes. So even if these reached full efficiency, however, external energy would still need to be expended in order to obtain oil from the seeds. So is this something that you also...
Okay. I was thinking there
break
was
it
some
down for
kind
me,
of...
fellas.
I was more hoping that there was something on the bacteria end of that was going to be interesting. That that there's, using some natural reactions caused by bacteria to create some energy.
Right.
But What they described there is it's based on what we're getting from biofuels, and I'm not so much a proponent of biofuels because they produce more NOx. Like they don't combust better, really. I mean they're
Gotcha.
They're a little less efficient when you put it in whatever the engine is, so it uses a bit more fuel. And while some emissions are lower, they're not all lower. So it's kind of in my opinion, a bit of a wash.
Right. Right.
But the problem with them is that you're wasting land. Like I think that if you're,
it says that extensive cultivable lands.
Yeah, because now you're growing food to burn, and the concept is like that if you're growing it, it's consuming carbon dioxide to grow, right?
Right.
So you're kind of it's a way of lowering greenhouse gases by doing that, and so that in theory is a pretty good idea, but I feel like having a forest on those lands or something where wildlife or ecology could grow and we could let nature have some of its space back would be a better use than to grow corn to turn into moonshine to burn into engines.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree with you, my friend.
Yeah,
so let's move right on past that one.
So I'm putting that one. Boy, bricks keep moving. I was expecting bricks to really fall, but I don't.
But after these,
you know what? It's more practical than bricks. So we're gonna put it above bricks. But I'm not happy.
I'm not liking this at all.
You know what? The screaming cell phone is maybe screaming cell phone.
I think we need to contact Apple and say, like, do you realize that if people shouted in their phones, you could charge it a little bit? We have a few more, and we've been going for a little while here, so I'll try not to spend too much time on them. But this next one is very apropos to what I've been going through. Okay. And that's human waste.
Oh. We've been talking about your waste quite a bit between your illness and your pizza, your dough that you create.
My dough.
Pizza.
Not only bugs and cattle produce usable waste, humans can claim this ability too. Obviously, it may seem rather disgusting, but our own pee and poop can be used to obtain energy. That's for our young audience. They're going to be laughing and giggling a lot. Our own pee and poop can be used to obtain energy. Some companies claim to have found the best source Some companies claim to have found the best source used diapers. Okay. Because since there are too many of those in the world, okay? And then it says pee, on the other hand, due to its saline properties, can be easily hydrolyzed to obtain hydrogen. Overall, pee is better than simple water for this process. Finally, considering the high obesity levels in some countries and the growing market for liposuction, even our own fat can be used as a replacement for oil in the production of biodiesel.
Thank God. We have to hunt whales.
We can hunt people.
We don't have to just hunt people. Just tear the fat out of women in Beverly Hills.
Just go to the liposuction facilities, and there you go.
It's done.
Yeah,
we've solved it. We've solved.
So where does that rank? Where does that rank for you? Where does pee pee and poo poo go?
Pee pee, poo poo, and plastic surgery fat, and turning it into energy. Okay, I think that let's put that up there. Mm-hmm. That's we're gonna pee anyway. We're gonna poo anyway, and if people want to go under the knife and have that liposuction act, it's not under knife, is it liposuction? I don't know how they liposuck. I wish I did, but I imagine there's probably suction involved.
Yeah, there is definitely some suction involved.
So. If that's happening anyway, and we're using it, then that works. Let's put that up there. I'd say maybe.
Is it above Power Bricks? It is above Power Bricks.
It's above Power Bricks. It's somewhere. I'm just saying if it's above biogas or not, because it's kind of similar, right?
They are similar. This is the waste and things that are inescapable for us as a people, right? It's like we just keep making stuff.
I'm putting it below biogas. And the reason I'm putting it below biogas is because there's other uses for our waste. There's, yes, you can easily hydrolyze urine, but so can nature when it's making clouds and fresh water and stuff. So and it's So I don't, and Nate and poo also, man, that's valuable. It's valuable stuff for.
Yeah, man, it's good for the soil.
Try to grow your plants and stuff, man.
Right?
Let's just go dump in our front yards.
We all watched The Martian. He was able to terraform Mars.
He made a potato farm.
Potato farm with his own poo.
Yeah.
So that's
Do we
stuff.
want to waste that on power?
Right? Come on,
When we
man.
could use plutonium.
Marty.
So I'm not putting it above biogas, but I think that it's. I'll probably put it above the bricks. I think.
Right.
I think.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. So last few, and then we'll wrap it up here. This one I just thought was funny because it's not really a solution. It's just another part of the whole weird power. Generally speaking, going clubbing on a Friday night has never been viewed as a particularly beneficial to society, much less the environment.
Well, there are.
I love getting my boogie on.
There are parents who want to be grandparents.
Yes, and you need to have a nightclub.
And they won't shut up
until...
And they won't give me any sleep or any rest until those kids give them grandkids.
That's right. So you got to have the nightclubs.
We need the club.
We need the clubs. So how much better would you feel if your dancing feet could reduce your carbon footprint?
Oh.
If you've ever been to Holland, you may have heard of Club Watt in Rotterdam, where the dance floor was rigged up with piezoelectric technology. This technology uses crystals that create a spark when pressure is applied. So the vibrations of a packed dance floor are a mine of potential electronic energy, which can be circulated back into the building's power supply.
That's rad.
It is pretty rad.
That's
right?
cool because that doesn't just have to be dance clubs. That could be like people walking about in the office building.
Exactly.
That one, the floor with that everywhere.
That one is a really cool concept that is weird and out of the box. Where if under our own feet, if the energy of footfalls were gathering energy, like that's a pretty cool
and unlike
idea.
The power bricks, they're not load bearing.
Right.
Like that's not the construction of the building itself. That's something you can pick up, replace, and repair.
Yeah.
When they wear out.
Yeah, because it says it uses the crystals to create a spark when pressure is applied. So they've got something lining.
And then they store the energy.
Exactly. So You're right. You could lay something down, and then if you deplete it, you could go, okay, well, we're closed for the weekend because we're going to be relining this pathway. We're going to put down
a new floor, which we do anyway.
Yes.
All the time.
So that one's...
Because you get sick of how the floor looks.
That one's pretty cool, right?
Yeah, it's all right.
Yeah.
That's okay. Right. I like that. That's a good one.
Floors, powered floors.
That's my favorite.
Floors.
That's number one for me.
Is it?
Number one for me.
I love
my
it.
favorite. Because I want to dance.
I want to
dance.
I just want to dance. Well, there's a couple more. One was about Boris Johnson. This is from a few years ago. Boris Johnson had a quirky idea of getting power from the heat from the London Underground.
Oh,
so like the trains. So try to find ways to get the heat that's being created by the trains going in the London Underground to power things. So
I mean, they're creating a lot of heat.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, there's probably ways to do all of this. I mean, that's it is interesting. I feel like we're a little, I don't know. We're gonna have Jacob. We need to have a podcast. First of all, we need to have a nuclear energy podcast, probably.
Okay.
Because I feel like the world needs to get a little bit of some of the other side of the data here on them.
Right.
But also, I think we ought to look at kind of the renewables and what's behind the renewables and why there's such a push for them.
Right.
And how to me, my feeling has always been that you've got to have a mixed grid, sort of like you got to have a few different things in there making it work.
Right.
Because there's aspects like there's aspects to solar that to me are brilliant. But there's some ways that they use solar that I personally think are really flawed. And I think that if you use solar the appropriate way, it's brilliant. And if you use it the wrong way, you're kind of a murderer.
Just one of those. No, I get what you're saying. When we've covered solar before, we've talked about the dangers of it, and so I agree. What we're looking at here is if I present to you power bricks, you go, well, as a blanket solution, we can't put all of our eggs in that basket because there's so many problems with it. But if you found a way to pull some power, and there was a way to swap, the way that this structure was built, we can swap them out. It's not permanent. If these bricks can be valuable. What you're saying is it's important to take a little bit from a lot of different places. It's not about solar is the solution for planet Earth. Wind is the solution for planet Earth. We can't just choose one. You have to find a way.
How much time do we have left on today's podcast?
I'd say you've got a minute tops. No, I'm kidding. Take whatever time you need, because really the rest.
I'm not doing this today, but let's have that conversation because you've got me sparked a little bit on a
I love it when I spark you.
A whole thing, and I would love to chat a little bit about that because I think it's cool that people are coming up with things. I think it's really neat that there's all these different kinds of solutions.
Yeah.
And I love ingenuity, and I love people being inventive. And who knows, if you put some energy and research behind the bricks, maybe they can make the permanent brick that works for. I don't know about this brick solution, Jacob.
But yelling into phones, powered dance floors, and poo and pee.
Poo and pee, and biogas.
Biogas. These are all great ideas that we can use. Yes. Sure.
There's aspects to these that could be useful. Yeah, totally. Yeah. But I think that it's funny when we had David
Dodge.
Thank you, on our show, and he was talking about how it's all about energy. Mm-hmm. It's all about. He's so right. He's so 100% correct. Like the amount of money in energy, the amount of control and influence that one person or one group of people could have over another group of people, depending upon what energy we use, what energy we choose, and how energy is produced, is pretty insane. Because I don't think that there's anybody listening to the show right now who's willing to give up their refrigerator, who's willing to give up their phone, who's willing to give up their
lights.
Their lights. There could be there's so much that we've become accustomed to in this society that we now consider to be necessities.
Right.
Like you get when there's a rolling brownout, or when power goes out because of a storm or something. Like it's fun for a minute to light the candles, but after a while you're just like, Jesus, man, what's gonna happen to all my food in the fridge? Oh, that's like you start to it starts to become this very annoying. You get really frustrated about it, and when you hear about these stories where the power's out for days, and you hear like people start rioting,
right?
Like, they start losing their minds. So we're addicted to it. Like it is all about energy, and whoever controls the power literally has the power, right? So there's a lot behind it, and there's a lot more to the story than we get as to why certain things are popular and certain things aren't popular. So that's going to be another podcast.
I agree, and just to piggyback on your point, you're right. When we were in Tahoe, the last night before we left, we had a power outage in our cabin where we were staying. It was a complete blackout. Everything was gone. It was cute at first. It was cute for all of an hour, maybe two. We lit some candles. We played some games, but very quickly the anxiety kicked in. The anxiety about, I'm not going to be able to charge my phone. I've got to drive tomorrow. We have all the food in the fridge and everything stored. It very quickly, and then we were trying to leave town, and we were like, this is going to be very difficult for us to all try to leave this cabin tomorrow if it doesn't come on. And each hour that passed, it became more and more frustrating. And so you're right. And I'm confirming that energy is a very powerful thing. Like David Dodge said, it's all energy, and we are all kind of at its will. We are all kind of willing to do whatever it takes to get it. And that is a very, very important thing. So I think we should touch on that. But yeah, very, very cool. This was essentially more of one of our fun ones to look at things that are out there that are kind of unusual and strange and just kind of silly. But
we love.
Yes, we love.
Let's be honest, we love this. Like finding these quirky things and digging in is kind of what we're all about, because it's it brings light to these things. Like I remember a while ago, and this was before our podcast started. There was something called a socket, which was a soccer ball that you play with for a few hours, and then you could bring it home and it would power an LED light for like 3 hours.
Really?
Right? Yeah.
That's really creative.
A really cute, and the idea was that people in developing nations could use this, and it could be like they play soccer, and then the kid can have a light for right.
Yeah.
So that's theoretically, it's when you talk about the idea, it makes your imagination go, and it makes you think about, oh, look at what's possible, look what can be done, right? Part of the issue about this show also is that we got to bring the facts. Like we got to bring the other side.
Right.
Like this is our
Yes.
this is our show. Like we bring fun things, we bring interesting things, but we also tear a lot of established things apart because that's, I don't know.
Well, no, it's important to do because people can't go to bed at night and be like, well, good, we have soccer balls that'll power the earth now. Right. You know, that's the thing is like when you're in the green world, is it sometimes these things to get the articles clicked on and to get the headlines, it's like it's solving the problem that's right in front of you but not addressing everything else. And so that's what the show's heart is about, which is like, let's talk about all of it.
The socket only works if you can afford to buy it.
Right.
But a socket ball is $99.
Right.
Now, in the Congo, when you're making $1 a day,
buying a soccer ball to power an LED light, right? It's not on the priorities. You got to eat. You know what I mean? Right. So nobody, unless you give them the ball, nobody has this ball where they need it, right? So it's just that makes it impractical. Now, if somebody was to go behind it and say, you know what, this is a really great idea, we should go for it. Let's just buy 6 million of these balls and let's put them out there. Then maybe we're talking about something. But who's going to come up with $600 million to do that? Right.
Probably nobody.
Right.
So it's that, but it's kind of fun to talk about, and it's interesting to see what people are inventing and what they're coming up with. Let's see how we go with these bricks. Maybe they come up with a breakthrough that does it. But as of now, I wouldn't hold my breath that we're going to have bricks being built of this material.
Yeah, the one thing that the one of the scientists said in there is her hope is that one day lithium ion won't even be used. I mean, that was her belief.
Agree
and that was her belief. And so when I see that, I go, I am behind you and I'm cheering you on and I'm rooting for you to find a solution that gets us away from lithium ion.
And I think that if you're developing something like that like again, and we can have a whole other electric car conversation, but like it isn't about what the dangers of the electric car are today. It's about putting the focus on these, like putting the onus on these companies like Apple, who makes phones with lithium-ion batteries, and Tesla, to be more responsible about where they get their materials for the batteries, and then how they handle the people who do that, and to improve their technology. To make technology that doesn't require a kid with a shovel, literally a child with a shovel, to go into, to dig a hole in the ground in the Congo, and then have it collapse on themselves because they're doing it with a shovel and no one around them, right? So it's like that doesn't work. That's not okay. You got to handle that problem, right? But we don't handle that problem if you don't also. The technology is still a cool technology, and it still is better than what we have now, right? Yeah. And if we support it, but also force them to look at it, then that technology can improve and become something that is actually sustainable and isn't something that our great-grandchildren are screaming at us about, which is currently what it's probably going to do.
Right, exactly. And that is why we're here, to save the world. Yeah.
One screaming telephone at a time.
One screaming telephone at a time. I'm telling you, I bet you I bet you it's already possible. Somehow there is an app that you could create that you yell into the phone and it's capturing the vibrations. And even if it was just 1%, it would be enough of a novel.
Even be 1% is the problem. It's like you would get the screaming in the phone would pull back. Like you'd have to scream into it for
like a good half
3
hour,
hours,
3 hours straight
to get like 2 seconds or 3 seconds of conversation.
I know some angry people that would do that for sure.
Okay, let's do it.
Let's do it.
I'm in.
Oh, I'm in.
Like I said,
that's all I wanted to hear.
Because of the hilarity of it, it's top priority.
I love it. I love it. Well, this has been the Biofriendly podcast, and we are your beacon of light in a gloomy environment.
Not just charismatic megafauna. I'm throwing the hard one on you this time.
Oh no! Also featuring greater parasympathetic nerve activity.
There it is.
Oh, I got it. I knew there were the lead-up words. Sorry.
Yes,
Go
that's
ahead.
right. Dolphins don't quit.
Nature is perfect. Look at eggs.
We are y'all inclusive.
We are y'all inclusive.
I think the telephone one has room too.
Yeah, the telephone one. Yeah, well, we said it earlier in the episode, right?
Just a minute ago. There was a good scream. I don't know.
Well, you can't expect our minds to remember something that happened just a minute ago.
Expect me to remember something I just said.
That's preposterous. Well, I'll review it and maybe I'll throw it into the next week's show.
Okay.
Okay.
I love it.
Okay.
All right.
All right, everybody.
Well, thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
We'll see you all next week for some fun times.
Let's Muppet our way out of here.
It's the Biofriendly Podcast. It's the Biofriendly Podcast.